Hello, everybody. Welcome in. Welcome into the workroom here. I hope you're having a great day. I'm Christy here at My Artful Adventures, and today we are going to take a quick peek at the new month's printables. And these are something that come out at no cost in my monthly newsletter. The newsletter's weekly. These are a printable collection that comes out once a month, and so you get those and you can download them and play with them, and it's a growing collection. It's I call it the village. I don't know what I call it. Oh my word! Oh my goodness! I'm trying to get myself into another spot, and my goodness, sometimes that's just more than we can manage, right? I'm so sorry. So I've got that there, and now I can also see comments. So that's going to be good. I'll be able to see some comments. But come on in and say hello. Let me know where you're watching from today. And I'm streaming to both YouTube and Facebook. So I'd love to see you pop on here and say hello. And so we're going to get going. I'm going to put you down to the desktop so you can actually see what I've got going on. And we have, let me see here. I just want to be able to see comments, you guys. Sometimes that's kind of hard. Okay, let me put you down here to the desktop. I'm going to do it. Okay, here we go. There we go. Here's this month. This month we have got a little new couple of buildings to add, and so it's the Village Creative Series. See, if you just breathe, you can remember what you're trying to say, right? So let me see if I can see some comments. Okay, there we go. So we've got a workshop. Now I've got two versions of the workshop here. One is going to be a little bit more feminine than the other. So you've got two kinds of workshops, and I thought this would be kind of fun, especially with Father's Day coming up in June as well. So that would be fun, but not all workshops are for the guys, right? So we've got the workshop, and then we've got a sewing shop. Let me see if I can get down just a little bit. Oh, let's see. I don't know why that's dinging so loud. Okay, well, we're gonna carry on. Let me try and zoom. That's almost as close as I can get it with the distance I have my camera set. So we've got the sewing shop, and we've got kind of a couple of different sewing shops. But the way that these are made is so that you can also use them for a journal page. You can close these in half if you want to, or you could cut half a page out. You can, kind of cut around and use the house for something else. I have tried to make these to where you could do a lot of things with them. And I hope that you feel the same way. And then we've got this one to where we've got them in some different sizes. So we've got smaller sizes of both of the main buildings. And then these little ones, I like to call these the postage stamp size, although they're a little bit bigger than a postage stamp. And then we've got some interior views. So, and if you've been following along, you can see that this is a little bit different look than what the collection has had before, right? And I hope that you enjoy it, because I think that it's going to be fun. If you've been collecting some of the buildings, I am going to go back and redo some of the other ones and bring them up to the village has got some new regulations, and so the other ones are going to have to be brought up to code, right? So here's a view in a workshop, and now we've got a lot. And also these are also made to where you can use the full page for something, but if you want to do it and fold it in half for a journal page, it will work on both sides for your journal page as well. You're not going to just be stuck, like, what in the world am I going to do with this? It's still going to be pretty either way. So if you're looking and you have sewn it into a signature and you're only getting to use both, there you go. This one, if you wanted to start a little village journal, this might be a nice one to use for a cover page if you wanted to. You might print it on a little bit heavier paper. And you guys, sometimes I've been printing a lot of stuff on, it's called index weight. And some of it, also, I actually think that I saw, the other day I was at Walmart, and I think their cover stock, card stock that I saw over in the paper aisle was the same weight that I use that is called index. So you just, and it was like 110 pounds. So you just have to, look, and everybody, I don't know why it seems to be so difficult to look at paper, weights, and it just seems like they don't really match, or to me make sense. Now I don't know, maybe that's just me, but here's our little thing. So again, if you're gonna fold it in half, either half looks pretty good, right? So we've got that one. We've got a bulletin board here. Here's our community bulletin board. This also might make a fun little cover, maybe. But we've got all kinds of notices. A lot of these are kind of, they correspond well to this month's collection with sewing things and workshop related things. Here's a birdhouse festival that's going to happen. And, some other things as well. There's some public notices. If you look, there might be some that you kind of get a chuckle out of. We've got this month, we've got some village friends that, some of them aren't necessarily geared to a workshop or the sewing shop, and you can use them in some other places. Here's a few little things that you might fussy cut and use for something you might want. I'm just not going to tell you how you should use all of these, right? They are just fun, and they're just meant to use however you would like them. I mean, just any way that you would want to use them. And that's how those things should always be, right? Just however we want to use them. Okay. And then we've got the sewing project planner pages. And it's just kind of a fun page. You might be able to, get some use out of it for something. You might not sew, but you might think that that's kind of a fun page to use for something. This one has got a real faint damask print on it. So it's just a tone-on-tone page that you could use as plain paper, but it actually does have, for this one, I used a little bit better of a print setting to be able to see this because it kind of was light. And yes, damask, that is the way you say it. And then we've got like a pattern page. And these are not all matchy-matchy. The backgrounds on these are a little bit different to give you a little bit of variety in your page. Then we've got, a little page, a tiny print that is an overall print that it really, doesn't matter. It's non-directional, so you can use it however you want. Now, I do think the pin cushions ended up all being one direction. So, I mean, forgive me for that. But that's a cute little, it's kind of light. It's not super dark. This page is kind of got this ghosted print on it, and it would work for the book. It's got kind of our workshop and sewing, themes on here. So you can use that either way. It's got a little bit of a middle here. If you wanted to use it for a whole thing and use that, it's kind of got this outer border. And then we've got something for the workshop. We've got a workshop order book, and then, just some notes over here. And again, you can use this half and half, right? Hey, Martha, how are you? Hi, Jan. And then this one has got a little bit of, it's got a faint graph paper look and like some little notes. Now this is light enough that you could put anything over it and it wouldn't be, terribly distracting. Another tiny print with workshop items. And then this one this is another very pale, print, and tone on tone. And it's got a, this is a wood grain. I'm sure that it's probably hard to see here in the camera. In person, you can, see it. But it's just meant to be kind of a plain page. But I wanted it a little bit more interesting than nothing to view, right? And then here are some cards. You guys, this is the way that I am going to start doing our little elements, because these can be cut apart. Hey, Susan. And you could use them for journaling cards. You could use them for whatever you want to. And they are going to be, a nice addition to the collection, because you'll be able to, if you wanted to, and use them for, cutting out the different things, you could do that too. But if you wanted to fussy cut, these are going to be easier because they're larger things to cut around. And they also have a little bit of background color. So that's also always helpful when you want to cut something. So here's 2 pages. They're kind of for our sewing shop. Made like that. You could use them for pockets or tuck spots, whatever you want to do, right? It looks like, you guys, I need to fix this. I can see I've got my little borders. I need to fix this. Some of these I'm gonna have to go back and do. I had some issues and trying to get it out for the newsletter yesterday, and today I'm looking at them and printing them out again, and I'm like, oh, dang it, I've got some issues here. But isn't that always the way? Sad but true. And so another 2 pages of workshop things. We got actually the 2 birdhouse things. They're different, so I think that they could both be useful. And then we've got these little things. I'm calling them stages. We've got little stages for our shops. Here's our 4 stages in our little sewing shop, an additional 4 here with the for the workshop, and then 2 pages of our words that you can cut apart. So one is for the sewing shop and one is for the workshop. But let me show you something. Let me show you how our people, I want to use 2 of these pages and give you some ideas on how to use the people. Okay, so if you look at our people page, what did I do with the people page? Oh my goodness, hang on 1 second. I know, Martha, I decided to do that, and I thought, why did I, sometimes you think about something and it's like, why didn't I ever think of that before? But now we've got little, collections on the cards, and I think they're going to be super useful. Okay, now the people, you can see, are in 2 different sizes on here. These smaller ones and then the large ones right here, right? So let me show you what we can do with them. Now, you're not going to be able to see. I needed to cut out. Oh, where's my big ones? Let me show you. I've got to cut some big ones out. I just didn't have time. I was reprinting some stuff this morning. Why are we like just always running around at the last minute? I am anyway. I don't know why. Well, we have things to do, right? And oh my gosh, why does real life get in the way of crafting? Oh, the nerve of it, right? So I had some other things I needed to do, but yeah, you guys, I hope that if you got the newsletter, I hope you haven't printed it out yet. I'm going to resend it. I've got to redo a couple of pages that I see. And today I have added those more tone-on-tone prints that could be used. Actually, if you wanted to, back up, if you want something more plain to print on some of the backs of your pages, those would be great. Or you just want a more plain page in general. And I like to cut these apart. They just are easier. And then you've heard me say so many times, if you just kind of twist your paper a lot of times, it's way easier than trying to maneuver your scissors, right? And so we're just going to do this. I want to show you a couple of these, because I hope that you will think this is as fabulous as I do. And you know what? I never really thought about, I don't know, so many people here lately have been talking about little figures and like paper dolls and things like that. And I just think, I used to like paper dolls when I was a kid, and I never really thought about these being paper dolls, but I don't have, I'm sorry, I don't have interchangeable clothes for you. You're just going to have to take the figures as they come, right? But I have tried to make them a little bit more diverse for our village, because a village has, just like we've got a collection of buildings, we've got a collection of people too, right? I love this guy standing around with his coffee cup. Oh, I should have cut these two people. I like how I faced them together so they look like they could have a conversation if they wanted to, right? And don't worry about, it's okay to leave a little bit of the white line around the edge. And if you want to, just go back, because have you ever noticed how stickers are like that? They have that tiny bit of white, and I don't think we really even notice that and go, oh, they have, gasp, they have a tiny bit of white there. How dare they? We just don't even give it a second thought. So I'm going to, hey Molly, how are you? So we're going to just do that. And I'm just going to leave a little, but I do have some ink out here, I hope, and a little brush. The brush set that I bought years ago when I first started seeing those brushes with the handles, I had some little bitty tiny ones. Well, this many years later, I get ready and I'm like thinking, oh, this is when I could use one of those tiny brushes. Do you think I have any idea where those are? No. But if we just leave a tiny bit, we don't have to worry about cutting it so close, and then we can actually just hit it with a little bit of ink on the edges and it'll be fine. I'm going to cut out one more real quick because I'm really kind of excited about how this works with the little people in our village. Oh, thanks, Molly. That's sweet of you. And a little bit more. And, don't worry about these where we've got these little flowers or whatever. Oh, Martha says when she talked about the cards that have the bigger groupings and the bigger pictures to be able to use. Yeah, that's where these are a little bit more fussy to deal with. And, you don't have to use them with the collection. It just gives you a little bit more storytelling ability to do some fun things with a journal. And I did, and that's why I went back this morning and I've added those 4 other pages to use that are a little bit more plain. I added the 2 pages that have the tiny print, and then the 2 that are, a real tone on tone page, so that we've got something either to back with or, whatever we want to do with them. And so now, here, let's just take one and add a tiny bit of ink. Well, here, I guess we can. And it'll kind of cover up the little white edges. They won't be so noticeable. Some of those I got more white than I really planned on. So you can just ink it up a little bit. And it also is going to help it stand out a little bit more off the page. And I'll show you what I mean. The thing about this though is like, when you got these people and you start getting that, it's like you don't want to get their face too dirty. So it's kind of tricky. Keep their faces clean. So there's going to be more people that are going to come live in the village as we go on. Waiting on the grandbaby's crafting fun for 3 days. Oh my goodness. Okay, almost. And then when you've got these little pieces, when they're together, I'm not going to do very many of them where they're standing together. That gets a little hard. And if you really needed to, you'd have to take a craft knife to get in between these two, right? So let me do a bigger one, because this is what I want you to see as the difference that the sizes are and how that's going to work and be a real benefit to you. You're probably like, why? What's the big deal? At least I had some of these cut out, you guys, but I didn't have them inked. So this is probably like watching, I don't know, probably not all that fun to watch. But we can sit and visit. We can visit, right? Hey, Sherry. Yeah, so if you get the newsletter, I hope I can catch people before they print these out. Well, there's not a lot of changes, honestly. Not too many. Not too many that I think people will be terribly upset with me. I mean, they were free, right? They're free. Okay. They're free. Well, let me say they're free in the newsletter. Okay. And as soon as I get them, and you know what, not everybody wants to be on the newsletter list, and that's fine. That's fine. And I do put these on, and here's what happens. When I have a collection, it comes out and there's no charge if you're on the newsletter. You get it for that month during the newsletter, and then after that month, then it's not there anymore. And at the same time, though, that it's free, I do put it in my Shopify shop, because there's some people that say, I don't want any more emails, and I would just rather pay for it. And so, there's it, and they're not terribly expensive. So, so you get both options for that. So as soon as I go back and fix a couple of things, I am going to put it back in the shop, and also people will be able to, download the whole thing and the fixed things. Okay, here's the deal. Let me show you on the little stages though first. So the smaller ones that were on the second row, and it's all about perspective, and we've talked about this on some other days about where you place things closer to you or farther back in a scene can really make a difference as to how it looks, and if it makes it look like it was supposed to be there, right? Okay, so we've got one lady here, and she's got she's got some fabric. She's got some bolts of fabric, and she's carrying them off, okay? And she can come and be down here closer to us. She can be down here, and she looks perfectly fine, like she belongs in the scene. Do you agree? I hope so. Now, if we've got these people and they're smaller, they can be back farther in the scene. And they look fine back farther in the scene. They look more like they still live there. And she can be out here. And these are back farther. So both sizes of these look, perfectly fine in the same little scene. It just depends on where you want to put them. Now, if you put them right here, they're too small. They're just too small there. Maybe they're back here. They've just, they've come in and back here. So all of these things have been specifically designed for that, so that you've got some options. And the same thing is going to hold true in the village picture. Let's say these two people are shopping, and they've got some things going on, and here they are. We're going to put them back a little bit farther in the scene. And then this lady here, she's got some stuff. She's one of the bigger ones. See, she's just a little bit bigger. We can put her down here, and she looks more like she belongs, like that. What do you think? What do you think, you guys? You think that's a kind of a fun idea to have something else to play with in your journals? And then, oh, and I love this. It's like a grandpa and little boy. And here they are in the workshop. Maybe they've just come in, and here they are in the workshop. So, you know, and these actually have been toned down a little bit. It looks like, I don't know, I'm kind of thinking they could be toned down even a little bit more, but so that the people can stand out a little bit more. But I hope you think that's a fun idea. Molly says fun, fun. Thank you, Molly. Oh, Martha says sometime in the near future, she's thinking about doing a sewing journal. That'd be fun. That would be fun. I've thought about doing that too. She says she's been sewing for 55 years. You know, Martha, I think I started sewing when I was 9 years old. And then by the time I was in probably junior high, I was making a lot of the things that I wore. And you know why I started doing that? You guys, this is so terrible. I started doing that because I didn't like the stuff my mom made most of my stuff. I did not like the stuff she was, you know, making for me. And so I started sewing my own stuff. Hey, isn't that the way that we should all be? If you don't like what's going on, just do something else about it, right? So if you came in late, I'll show you the other cards. And these were fun. I love these too, so that I think these are going to be, you know, super useful to use. Or the larger cards, so that you can use them for journal cards or pockets or, you know, whatever you want to. So yeah, here's some sewing. Oh, Martha, these will be perfect for you to use for some sewing, from sewing things. So 2 pages of sewing and then 2 pages of the workshop stuff. So that's it, you guys. That's kind of my, I don't know, I said it was a preview, but I don't know if it's a preview, if it's already here and I'm showing the whole thing. I'm like, why did I call it a preview? I don't know. What else would you call it, right? I don't know. You guys, I hope you have a wonderful week. What else? What have you got planned for the week? I'm just wondering if you got any big plans coming up. Can you believe we're already into June? Before you know it, it's going to be the 4th of July. Where does the time go? I have no idea. No clue. You guys, hard to find your bit. Oh, yeah, that's true. Martha, yes. And a lot of times that is exactly why people take up sewing, is so that they can, you know, get things that fit, right? It's a very useful skill. My granddaughter has been after me to teach her how to sew. She's been coming over and cooking with us, and we've been doing some of that bread baking. We've gotten into that with using some freshly milled grains and doing that, and that's starting to be a whole thing at our house, and that's a very interesting thing when you start doing some research about the grains that they try and sell us, right? Or flour they sell us. So we've been doing that, and that's been fun. Oh, Martha says she's going to do a watercolor class tomorrow. Good, that sounds fun. So we've been doing that. So she, you know, she wants us to help her learn more how to cook and to sew and do some home type skills. And I'm so proud of her because, you know, I think we've had so many people that have gotten away from that, and I can remember thinking how excited that I was to find out that, you know, people are trying to learn to knit again and sew and crochet and embroider, and I mean just all the kinds of things of those things that we used to do a lot of. And those skills are, you know, those are the, not skills, those well, they are skills. Those things are starting to come back though, and I am really glad about that. You would hate some of those things to just, you know, nobody know how to do them, right? You guys, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to get back over here and redo a couple of things here, and then I am going to resend those out so that people can do that, or let them know, put them somewhere so people can grab them. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you. I'll be on tomorrow with a gift for Dad is what we're doing. I'm in an event, and so I'll be doing that tomorrow. You guys take care. Thanks for joining me today. Bye-bye.